our broad market analysis from last week. And if you all remember, this is just what I call the neutral strategy. And what we look for is when price breaks over the neutral, we go long into targets. And when price breaks down below that neutral, look to go short into those targets. Again, there's a lot of things that make sense here. We're always paying attention to trend. So if we're trending up, then obviously I like that move to the upside when price goes over that neutral. And I believe that a lot of traders feel as if it's just too simple to be true. But the truth is, there's a lot behind it. There's a lot of Fibonacci. There's a lot of different levels. There's some supply and demand. We use trendy edges and so forth. But let's go ahead and get started with last week's broad market analysis. We do this every week for our members, and we start with the SPY. And you can see down here, I have the date 10/10. Okay, and it is October. It is my daughter's birthday today. And believe it or not, she is celebrating her 21st birthday. I know, I look super young. All right, so this is the SPY. Right here, you will see that the drawing set says 10-4. And this is really cool. We like to do this to keep our results so we can thumb through these and just see how they worked with the strategy and kind of how price reacted around those levels. So we're going to go to the appropriate October 4th, okay, just like that. And we're going to go to a higher time frame, the 1 year daily. All right. And I am recording this session and we'll be putting this into the room here shortly. But we just want to see what our results were. And I like doing the daily so that you can understand, the sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And as you can see, these were made last weekend. And after we get finished with these, I'll be doing new blueprints for this coming week. All right, and I won't be doing those live. I'm just recording this session so that I can push it out for review. All right, so again, looking to go long, you can see that the trend was bullish. Price did move and gap up on Monday. And when it gapped up, it came back down into one of our targets. And we look for support here. We did move into T1. On Tuesday, we had a nice flush. I remember this day quite like it was yesterday. And when we moved back, we came right into the neutral. I cannot make this stuff up. And you can see it came down into here, but it also just held the daily 9 EMA. We did go bid there, meaning we found buyers. And then quickly on the next day, gapped up into T2. And you can see here we hit T3. And if you've been following me for the last several days, you also know that we call this the ACDC. And I'm looking for price to move up into the 354.30 level. Now, timing is the variable. All right. So, who knows? And the only thing we can do is come over here and look at the ATR. All right. The ATR is about $13. So after I put a blueprint together, we'll have that for this week. And I may just share a couple charts out there to Twitter just so you guys can, watch the overall success of these. All right, so my risk in the first place was 334 to 330, so about $4, staying long into targets. And again, I'm looking for this into next week, and I will make new. Let's go ahead and go over to the Qs. That's going to be our next broad market. Okay, and so just pulling up my watch list here. So we're going to go to the Qs. We're going to make sure that we are on the week of the 4th. And let's go ahead and look at the results here as well. So we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. And just so that you can see that, let's go ahead and zoom in here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right. So this is the blueprint again that we gave last week. All right. So we move out of neutral. We move into T1. Okay, rejection at T1. Remember, all targets to the upside are resistance until proven otherwise. We come down and once again, cannot make this up, on Tuesday on the drop. Remember, if I'm going long outside of my neutral, my stops are underneath the neutral. My risk is this. Do the math there. It's about $3 or so. And look, price comes down into the neutral line, stays bid. Nothing to be concerned about. Wednesday breaks out again. Thursday, we hit T1, and you can see here, nice finish on the week and close to our T3. Again, this is an AC/DC setup, looking for this move further up into around 298. Let's go ahead and go over to the DIA. So everything I'm showing you is what we provide to our members every weekend, and this is not to include our trade plans. So really, all in all, we have actionable plans on anywhere from 10 to 20 charts to get started for the week, all having entry, exits, and stops. All right, so here is DIA, and one thing that I noticed last week is this thing was looking really strong. All right, and again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Monday, we gap up into the trendy edge. Tuesday, everybody knows the gap down, but what I want you to pay attention to is the 9 EMA here. We did not break that. So for swing traders, this was easy. I mean, honestly, you're just looking at the higher time frame, make sure you're not breaking below this 9 EMA. Nice move up here. You can see we got into the accelerator. We did accelerate truly into that next target. T123 and all the way up into the 286.20 area. Again, next week, what I'm looking for is a move into these pink lines. Let's go ahead and go down into the IWM. And again, things are looking really good on the IWM, or if you're a futures trader, RTY. And you can see here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we went over in our broad market analysis video last week that DIA and IWM were looking very strong. And you could see anything that was holding under here did really well this week. Gap up into the trendy edge. Okay, anytime we're underneath the trendy edge, we look for it to be resistance until it not. It pushes up into Tuesday, pulls back, never breaks below the 9 EMA, and you can see we hit all of our targets to the tick. Now these have not been altered. This is everything. Again, simple strategy. Pay attention to trend. Stay long, depending on what time frame you're using. Stay long above the neutral. You can see here, this is your risk, 150 to 152 and a half. $2 a risk, folks, and you're looking for this move here. So ultimately, after we gap up, our targets are these higher targets, and finally reaching the YE or the yearly edge at 163. Let's go ahead and move on to our next one, and that's going to be gold, GLD. And let's just go ahead and see how this panned out. Okay, again on the daily charts. And we started noticing later on, it was showing some strength here, like most things on Monday. The gap down on Tuesday, we stayed in the neutral, and then we started to go bid and then it gapped up. We're not quite into the 181.51, but what I did tell our members here is keep an eye on this. And if you've been following me over the last several days, this is a setup for me. As long as price stays between these two arrows, I'm looking for it to move into 183.88 and 185.50. Basically, that stop's going to be underneath that 9 EMA on the daily on gold. All right. So again, TLT and gold. And then the next thing I want to look at really quick is going to be the dollar. All right. So here we go on the dollar. And that's our neutral strategy. We don't trade this, obviously, but it is there for reference. It's very important. Now, what we have here are lower lows, so it is the opposite. We have an accelerator decelerator equals ME. If we break down below, I'm looking for the dollar to come into 92.47 and roughly around 92. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the VIX. Again, neutral strategy. Never once did it break above the neutral. Therefore, I'm not looking to buy calls in the VIX. I'm not looking to hedge. I do not do that. I simply follow my strategy. Price did not hold over the neutral. I'm not going long. And you can see we did hit T1 to the downside at 24.51. We will be making new blueprints going into next week. And again, this is just something we do for all of our members here. And what's really neat is that the broad market analysis, I give my spin on it and we go over the skew, the P call, all right, some fear and greed. And then we push all this together and look at supply and demand, and we get a really good idea of what the market's going to do. Now, I say an idea, we're pretty spot on with our analysis almost in every week. And the neat thing here is that you have that reference, but you also have actionable plans. Okay. And again, I don't feel like you can make it any more simple than this, paying attention to overall trend. and then trading outside the neutral or going short underneath the neutral. Okay, let's go ahead and see where the skew ended. Okay, you do need to look at it weekly for this to make sense. And we ended the week down here at 121.93. All right, and you can see here we were mentioning risk on going into this week. And although Tuesday tried to shake out a lot of bulls, it did not shake us out. And we did very well, especially on Friday, as I hope many did. All right, so that sums up the broad market analysis. And then I'm going to go into what we call our trade plans. And we're just going to go over a few of those. And again, this is just for reference to see how well we did. And give me 1 second. And let's go ahead and start here. Give me 1 second. So we had Chewy, and here is, I'm going to work my way up here. And these Chewy plans, just so you guys can see kind of what this looks like, you can see here on Chewy, and I drop these. So not only do I do them over the weekend, but over, every day we open up, we have focus trades, and then we also may add some here. Whether they be long term and so forth. But you can see here, I like to put on the trade length, the setup, the entry, the risk, and what time frame I'm using. So this is what I'm referencing, just so everybody understands. Let's go ahead and look at Chewy. So here, when I posted this, price was at $59. And you can see this one pretty clearly is very nice off of the trendy edge. It moved into the 9 EMA here on the weekly. 22 days was the trade length. We did really well, and what I did was close the in the money deltas, and then I rolled out to a spread over the weekend just in case something pops off over the weekend. Okay, but what we're setting up for here is a ACDC. I'm looking for the move, obviously into 63, 65, and potentially into 72. That is Chewy. Let's go ahead and move. This one's a longer trade for me, OKTA. It's about 44 days out or so. This one's looking really well. All right, and what I'm paying attention to is not the weekly. I'm actually looking at a monthly right here, the old inside and up. And I'm looking for a move potentially into 269 and 300. And again, 44 days out. The stop for me is probably going to be on a weekly. It just kind of depends. But for right now, you can see this weekly 9 EMA is in this neutral or in those inside candles. And as long as price is holding above this pink line, I like it to the upside. And that pink line is around 226. Let's go ahead and move on into Lulu. All right, so we did make money on this one as well. And we actually sold this like just spot on. All right, we do that a lot. Let me go ahead and kind of show you just for reference. And there we go. And you can see right here, this was the chart before. You can see we have a neutral, and then we look to break, all right, and then add above 343, and then we're looking for 348.29, 356, so forth, okay? Now you can see exactly what happened here. We pulled down into the add area, we pushed up, we got to the next add area, and then I closed the higher delta at 348.29, and then I bought spreads. Okay, that's how I like to roll. I like to buy the deeper in the money, and then when I start to feel a little FOMO, or I feel like the stock's done really well, then I just roll into those spreads. It's a really nice strategy because what you're doing is you're capping. I get it, you're capping your reward, but strategic option traders know we can always buy back the short side and ride that long side, especially if things start going in our favor. And I actually did that on Microsoft, and I'll show you here that here shortly. Okay. All right, so that was Lulu, another great trade. And here is Starbucks. So trade length was 1 to 5 days. At the time of putting this on here, it was at 88.47. And let's go ahead and take a look there. All right, here's your blueprint. All right, very straightforward. This was the void. I cannot make this up. It literally came down to the tick, push back up out of the neutral, into the add, and into the next target. And again, this is setting up very nicely here for a potential gap fill into 92. Let's go ahead and move on. We'll look at AMAT. Now some of these, we'll just have to see how they turned out. All right, so there you go. Price came down. This is the weekly into the trendy edge, pushed out of neutral, and then here close into the trendy edge. This one right here on AMAT. Pretty straightforward. And let's go ahead to FDX. This was earlier in the week, and I believe when I went back and looked, I was like, man, I might have sold it just a tad short. But again, very nice blueprint. Just so you guys can kind of see, I'll bring this down. All right. And just click on that. I'm not sure how well you can see on this. Let's see if I can do this. Something like that. I was using the 4 hour, I believe. So let's take this to the 4 hour. Let's see what we get here. There we go. All right, so it looked like this. And very nice. Nice push above. I know we traded this, I think 261 into 264 or something like that. But you can see we hit all our targets, 264 into 272, and kind of stalled there at T3. So very nice blueprint, very straightforward. Staying above the 4 hour looked very good. It's very important to understand before you go into a trade what hourly time frame you're going to be trading and what the setup is. But most important, and a lot of traders, for some reason, I don't get this. They don't think that it's important to look at the higher time frames, even if they're trading on a smaller time frame. But I would have to disagree with anyone that believes that. We're not talking about scalping, but if the overall trend is up, then I want to pay attention. Let's say that I don't have a lot of patience, and sometimes as traders, we have certain days we're not patient and other days where we are super patient. In this case, if you're feeling patient, you know the overall trend is up. I like the 4 hour. 4 hour does allow you to be a little bit more patient, but not like a trader who's watching the weekly or the monthly. Okay. All right, the next one was crowd, and this one was pretty straightforward as well. This one says trade length 1 to 5 days. Let's go to crowd. And you can see this was the neutral strategy. And I had this, give me 1 second. I had this on the weekly. It was at 139.87 when I posted this. Okay, let's go over here to the weekly. And you can see that we closed at 143. Now, once again, can't make this up. Price moves, hits all of our targets. This was an ACDC setup. Previously, push right into our trendy edge to the tick and then right back down. So having an edge really does make a lot of sense in order for you to succeed. For me, that means taking trades when they set up for my different process, moving into targets, and we know that we do not go long into a trendy edge. We trim or close into a trendy edge. And what's very interesting is looking at the psychology behind people trading, you can actually see that many traders start to FOMO, and this is where they usually want to buy. It's really fun to watch. You'll see different comments into certain names, right into a trendy edge as price is moving up, and then it resists. Okay. And I actually was going to show that on the E-mini. We had a trader who was commenting on the RTY, and as it was moving into the trendy edge, I said, look, we might want to just kind of slow down until we can get over that. But I just want to show you that really quick. All right, so our next name, let's go ahead and go up here to Amazon. Wow, what a trade this was. It just meant being patient. So when you look at the monthly chart or the weekly, you can see here that the 9 EMA, when you're looking at a weekly candle, you must give it the respect. So you cannot in order to understand, like if your thesis was, hey, this candle needs to hold the 9 EMA, you can't come in here and say on Tuesday that it didn't hold. You have to come back on Friday when the actual candle closes and say the 9 EMA held. So again, as a swing trader, I have to wait for my formations to do their thing on their time frame. It makes no sense at all to try and be a swing trader and make a judgment call based on a lower time frame candle. Sorry. All right, so that's Amazon. This was a great trade. We took this on Friday. This was a focus trade, and if you watched me live, you would have saw that setup. Let me go ahead and show you. This was it, And this was the result. We hit our target at 32.91, and before that we hit 32.60, 32.22, and so forth. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, DE. Now I did not trade DE. As a matter of fact, I don't even know where it ended up. But when I posted the trade plan, the trade length was 1 to 5 days. The setup equaled neutral. A bit extended, but I'm open to either side. These are my notes I'm reading to you. Entry is below or above neutral. Let's go ahead and take a look. When price was, when I pushed this out, it was at 224. All right. So just like this, we're going to move this back. And I apologize, Thinkorswim's acting a little wonky. All right, so this is the trade plan. And as you can see, it was extended, but we had a neutral and we had a trendy edge, and the price stayed above that, and we pushed right into T1 and T2. Again, posted this at 224. The risk was down here underneath the neutral, staying long into the targets. All right, here's one that I did not track this week. And something I've never traded was MSI. Holy crap. So this is what I mean. All right, I can't make this up either. And this is probably why our patient traders, our swing traders are so happy here, is because we provide some amazing charts. Let me go ahead and show you this just for reference. Boom, 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 boom. Uh-oh, that one didn't pull up. Give me 1 second. Let's just pull it down. Makes it easier. You can see it right here. All right. Just so that you guys know I'm not BSing you. All right. Everything's before and after for me. And you can see our levels there, 155.39 by something up here. But anyways, we'll look at that here. And you can see, nice break, right into target. Can't make this up again. Our target was already set, and look where it closed on Friday. This was Motorola. Very nice. All right, next one, STX. Same thing. Great results. And what's most important, price did not come down, break the neutral. We hit T1, T2, and T3, and then rejected at our third target. These are all trade plans and all broad market analysis. This is AAL, American Airlines. We traded this in and out several times, did really well. Then we got some news, got a pop, made some money. When I first posted this, we were trading at 12.29. It may not look like much, but we still made a little bit of money off of this, and price did move into our targets. We were looking for the pink line. It got pretty darn close. I still really like AAL going into next week. I think the bigger break is going to be over this pink line into 15 and possibly into around 16 and 3/4. Okay, and then there was AMD. All right, and they had some news. So the cool thing about AMD, going back to my strategy of being deeper in the money and then buying spreads, we were flat on AMD. So I closed one flat and then I closed one for a little down. And then what I did is on this pullback is I started buying spreads. Well, it already had spreads. So sorry, let me back up there. So I have spreads 40 plus days out, I believe. Let me look at my monitor really quick. And so we got 41 days left, and I had the 95s by 100. Now I had closer to in the money and shorter dated options, and I closed some for flat and then I closed some for down, and I'm keeping the spread going, and I added on this dip. Okay. So I still like the setup here. We're still holding the green and the red arrow. The bigger risk is maybe down here at the 9 EMA around 78. But again, I'm still looking for the move into the pink line around 91. And if we break out above that 94, I'm looking at 95 by 100. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here. Okay, now I'm going a little too deep now. So I think I went over all of them, which is, it was a great week. So besides Tuesday, right, where it probably shook a lot of people out, the market was interesting. It wasn't easy, but I feel like showing you this and making you understand that having a process and sticking to a process really helps to keep you focused when things happen. Let me leave you with this. At any time, if you're trading, and things start to look rough and they're starting to scare you and you want to jump out of a trade, I encourage you to at least go over to the weekly and the daily charts. A lot of traders, their biggest mistake when they're starting is they are trying to scalp trades. They're not very good in the first place. And to be quite honest with you, it takes a really good trader to be able to scalp and get in and out. But for most traders learning, it's so important to pay attention to the higher time frame. Give yourself a little bit, you got to get the mind right. All right. So if you're trading and you're wanting to make money over a longer period of time, but you're not necessarily investing, you just want to trade options, equity, futures, so forth, concentrate on the higher time frame for a little bit. See if you can change your mind. Get out of the scalp mentality and take a bigger look. All right. Things can really drastically change for you. We also had Apple here, and I just want to show you some things on Apple. All right, so this is the weekly chart. All right, I just want you to look at this just for a second. It's a weekly chart. All right, you can see there? Looks like a inverse head and shoulders, right? If you're into that kind of stuff. Looks like possibly shaping up for a nice move here into the 124 level and possibly into 134. All right, now let's go over into the monthly. All right, here's a monthly. We had an inside candle, all right, on that previous month. And here, I mean, it could be an inside and down, all the way back down to the 9 EMA around 99, or this thing could pop, over the next month, and we get an inside and up, and then off to new highs again. Okay, we don't know right now, but I just want to show you the difference in these time frames. And what happens is when the market's starting to pull back on you, you can quickly go over to the daily and the weeklies to check that EMA. I don't care if you use the 8 EMA, the 9, the 10, whatever. All right. But whatever is your baby, when the market pulls back, go back and see if you have a level. All right. So if you have a level, there may be something that keeps you from freaking out. So if it's just an EMA, let's look at the days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Tuesday might have freaked you out. So for me, even though this broke below the 9, I had the trendy edge here, and you can see it's here. It did close above that, and then again, Wednesday, nice gap up, holds the 9. Friday comes right into our neutral. By the way, we traded Apple, Amazon, and what was Workhorse on Friday. And again, those were pushed out there to the public, so you can kind of go over and see that. Now I am recording this in a larger font, and hopefully everybody can see it a little bit better. But you can see that the levels worked very well. This was our strategy from Friday. Mine was I bought in the money pretty deep, and then I closed, and then I rolled into spreads. All right. And all of that is kind of captured here in my live alerts. Okay, that look like this. All right. And actually, I take that back. So we had deep in the monies, and then I bought at the money right before close. And you can see timestamp, price I paid. Very nice. So again, really good week. I look forward to next week. I'll be sitting down and drilling into this next broad market analysis to include next week and everything I just showed you from the SPYs all the way into the VIX, and then trade plans, and that's how we do things. If you're interested in what we do, please come check us out on a trial. We got a special going right now. You can't beat that. You're gonna get 7 days worth of good content, videos, explanations. You get to watch me trade live. I go over my setups, my entries, targets. You will find nobody more transparent than me. I don't think so. Everything is straight from my account right into Discord, and I'm trading live. Check out TrendyTrading.co. If you have any questions, you can always DM me as well. I appreciate you guys, and have a great weekend. If you're here in Florida, stay dry and be safe.